is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 304. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him
E.
E, sitting here on a Monday. May the 4th be with you, my friend. Coming off another 2-0 clean sheet home victory for Austin FC. I'm feeling great. How are you feeling, my friend?
Feeling great, man. Get those 3 points there. Got guys coming back. I am very excited. You're officially on a win streak now. We're looking at the schedule going forward, not to get too ahead of myself, but you got more winnable games coming up here, getting healthy. This is what we've been asking for this whole season, just begging for the chance to see this team at full strength, and we're just like right on the cusp there. So like a lot of exciting things. This match was fun. I thought there was a lot of action in this one. I thought the scoreline could have been much higher for both teams. But it was a fun game, and it was a good atmosphere, and it was just good to see 3 points at home for this Austin club that I think really deserves it for the struggles that they've had to suffer through to begin this season.
Yeah, and like you got the job done, man. First ever double lever pull in North End history, like 9 days ago or something like that. And you know, for that to not be that was a vibes lever pull, right? It's certainly not a mathematical lever pull at this time of the year. To get that done, we thank you, fellas. And of course, we'll talk more about our post-game takeaways when we get there here. On episode 304, packed show for everybody here today. We'll recap the win over St. Louis. Got a couple pieces of news and Patreon discussion to clean up here at the top. Last business day as well. Later in the pod, another victory for the second team. And we'll close it out with the nonsense here on our Monday. Before we get into the rest of episode 304, just want to remind you, as we always do, that you can support the show financially for free just by downloading the audio versions of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. So toggle on the auto downloads button for the North End Podcast. That'll support the show in that manner going forward, and you won't even have to think about it again. You can rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts if you want to go that extra mile. And, of course, if you are watching us on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. It does help us grow the show. You can also hit the notification bell to know when a live stream pops up or a new episode goes live. And of course, here on episode 304, hit the thumbs up, like the video, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords. Atone for your sins. Wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. And coming out of another victorious weekend for Austin FC, we've also got some news here in the North End. Shout out to Sierra Deuce, our good buddy there. So I guess we could say we are adding another card to our chain. North End Patreon here this weekend. So good to see Sierra Deuce joining the Discord there before the match this weekend. Excited to have you, buddy. And looking forward to the future, not just with Sierra Deuce, but anybody else who wants to join in on the Patreon. The QR code to join is on the screen right now if you're watching on the YouTube channel. It's also a link in the description, both for the YouTube version and the audio-only version, if you are looking to join in on the fun. Because it wasn't just Sierra Deuce joining in, which, again, was a thrill for us, one of our longtime friends there at the Q. But I also wanted to shout out Natalie for the ticket giveaway. She gave away 2 Lexus Club tickets and a parking pass to our Discord members. And then also, I mean, you can't forget Tex Conson Craig right before the match yesterday, putting his 2 tickets up for grabs there. But that's kind of, it's part of what you get here. Obviously, it's not unique to the North End community. There are ticket exchanges among many groups here in our fan space. But wanted to shout out those 2 Patreon members specifically for their generosity here this week. And we are recording. It is right around 3:30 p.m. Central. So in 3 minutes, at 3:33 p.m. here on our Monday, one Patreon member is going to win this autographed Owen Wolff trading card. Top's finest 2024 base card there of Lobito, signed by the man himself. Giveaway this weekend to celebrate the return of Owen Wolff to the lineup. Anything for you, E, on the Patreon? It's been a busy week. It's almost like we all forgot how much fun it was to be fans together in there with like getting these wins. Everything has kind of cranked up a notch over the last week or so. So again, shout out Natalie, Tex Constant Craig, Sierra Deuce for showing up as our newest DP member. Fun times.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Sierra Deuce. Thanks for the support. Don't think it's a coincidence that he jumped in right before a card giveaway.
Yeah.
Probably got some sort of intel going on there. Natalie, thank you. I know that that was a generous offer. To have that stuff, and Lexus Club is so cool. So that was awesome. And then Tex Constant Craig coming in there late, like Jaden Nelson almost. Jaden Nelson those tickets. But really appreciate everyone, and it's obviously just been fun having that little community to complain with and then also celebrate with.
Yeah, no question. So let's go ahead and move on here, Ian. I will note for anybody who may have skipped the preview episode on Thursday, because especially when we get on this kind of off schedule a little bit with the games coming so quick and in rapid succession. If anybody missed the preview episode on Thursday, we spent the first 20 minutes or so of episode 303 talking about the newest player acquisition rumor, Przemysław Płacheta. That's why I've been educated by Hudson, so shout out to Huddy.
There we go.
I've a couple hours after we posted the episode, he shows up in the DMs. I've been summoned, and yes, you were, my friend. So thank you for doing your job as our North End Polish correspondent there. So if you want some Shemi content there, about 20 minutes on the player, the rumor, where it's coming from, all of that on Thursday's episode 303. So anything else for you before we jump into the St. Louis recap?
I mean, still excited about the guy, and looking forward to potentially getting him over here and see what that looks like. Yeah,
not too long now, right? About less than 2 months. You would expect those summer signings, especially these pre-contract guys, to be showing up in Austin, about 3 weeks before we get back underway from the World Cup break. So let's move into talking about Sunday's victory, and it all started Saturday. We discussed on the preview episode, we expected Brandon Vazquez to be back. Coach was hinting at on Tuesday that Dani and Owen would join him on the bench. We get that injury report officially on Saturday afternoon. All three guys removed from the injury report, in addition to Jaden Nelson, who you brought up a moment ago, a little bit tongue-in-cheek there. Bobby T, of course, remained out as expected. But again, just like, even though we expected all of that, it's been so long, the push and pull, the snip snap, like, oh, he's going to be back next week. No, maybe 2 games from now. Like, all of that with all of these guys, those dominoes falling throughout the week just built the hype up even more so for this game on Sunday. And you get the lineup card, man, and all 3 of those guys, Vazquez, Wolff, Dani P on the bench. And then Jaden Nelson in the starting lineup, though, and he gets injured in warmups, ends up not playing in this game. John Gallagher starts over him, goes the full 90, as Johnny tends to do in a pinch. It didn't seem like anything that I've seen that it was like a something that Jaden went out there and like made his injury worse. Because we know he's been dealing with the little bumps and bruises, the tweaks, the pulls, hamstring, calf, what have you. So that's good, right? That we haven't heard, oh, well, now he's going to be out till the World Cup break or something like that. Because it seems like the additional bit of caution, right? We're not the first people to speculate that he's maybe being a little bit more careful with his body right now because of the hope of being called up to that Canadian men's national team. But I had the slightest bit of frustration when we got that notification from the team right before kickoff on social media, because it's like, man, if we're that close to him, like being able to go or not, now we're just using up a spot on the team sheet that we can't get back. So again, like I'm probably going a little bit too far into like, how can we optimize everything, right?
Yeah.
If he knew he was going to get hurt, he wouldn't have gone out there and tried to play. But that was definitely not making me feel better about the state of things at the first whistle that Jaden was pulled right before we started.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a bit of a surprise there. I'll just jump back to obviously seeing those three big names coming off the injury report, and we've kind of maintained the I'll believe it when I see it with those guys for the last month and a half or so, and finally seeing that report and understanding they were going to be available in front of the home crowd was just great to see. And like you said, a nice little boost for the team. We felt like there wasn't going to be a whole lot of time available to them in this match, given, the fact that neither Owen or BV have played it all this season. Obviously, I did think Dani was going to be available for a bit more time, given the fact that he's played this year and he had that hamstring tweak again, which he just kind of seems to bounce back from pretty quickly. I don't know. And gets injured again a little. I don't know. But it was great to see those guys available there. And then with the Nelson stuff, it's frustrating, but I get it. That's really where I'm at with it. It's like, it's frustrating. I understand it. After the World Cup break, I don't think this will be something that the club or Jaden is worrying about anymore. And I don't think you're going to see situations like this where it's like, oh yeah, he's starting, he's in the lineup, boop, boop. Now we're without him. We got to change the lineup. I don't think it changes a ton of things, but it does change some stuff. Johnny and Jaden, very different players in their own rights. So I think once we get past this World Cup break, we'll get to that point. I understand some of the frustration, but I just totally get it if I'm Jaden Nelson and I want to be able to represent my country on the biggest soccer stage in the world. So I understand where he's coming from. If he wants to be cautious with that, I get it. If it carries over past the World Cup, then yes, I will have a different take on that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Then we'll be pretty worried. I hope you're right that it's all just the extra precautions, because we can't really argue with his desire. This is once in a lifetime, likely,
of course,
opportunity, right? Because who knows where your career is going to be at 4 years from now, and what other speedy, talented wingers are in the Canadian pipeline waiting behind him. I don't
absolutely.
Know. So yeah, it's just 4 more games. Probably not going to see a ton of Jay. It's what it feels like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's probably not going to play more than a half for us going forward. And if he does, great, because when he's been out there of late, he's been pretty good. Not just from the banger goal against Houston, but all of the aspects of his games his game that he brings, especially that straight line speed.
If you had him yesterday, I think you score in that first half. We'll get into it, but for sure. But I think if you had him yesterday, you're on the board pretty early.
Yeah. Well, and it was with Nelson in the lineup, it was the same 11 that we saw against Houston, right? So it's that back line, Biru, BHIs, Fatok, Dessler, Ilian Rosales in the middle, and another great. Joseph Rosales might be one of our defensive midfielders now. Because again, if we're talking about how you get your best 11 players on the field, and we just had that listener question on Thursday, dude, again, it's good problems to have if you get to a point where you're actually fully healthy. Because it's do you need Biru and Rosales out there? Or do you want those two guys out there? Okay, well then Rosales he's on the wing or he's in the defensive midfield. And these offensive players coming back, well, Rosales probably isn't on the wing then. So I don't know, man. But again, it's these are good problems for our coaches to have to figure out.
Absolutely. And I think it raises the level of competition and stuff. And, you and I discussed what our choice 11 would look like at full strength last night. And I was Joseph Rosales in the midfield and Biru starting at left back. And then I don't know if we'll get into this, but I said I want Ilya to start if we're full strength, and that's not a slight at Dani or anything like that. I just think that Ilya possesses the intangibles, the leadership stuff that we have just been lacking for so long, and getting Joe in this midfield with him just allows Joe to kind of be more free because he knows Ilya has his back. Ilya is going to be disciplined in his formation and getting guys into the right spot here. So it is a good problem to have, and one that we've been waiting to have with this team. And God, just like, he has a couple, I don't know if they're going to be on the notes or anything, but a couple defensive plays where it's just like, he's so slick with those little steals, just those
Quick
takeaways,
feet.
just like, boop, that's mine now, So good problems to have. And you just got to love the potential of seeing this team at full strength, man, full go.
I like that you said exactly what I was thinking. Those watching on the YouTube could see me kind of little bit of a smile there as you were talking, because we have been waiting so long to have these arguments, and it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
So we stopped with those midfielders there. Gallagher, Torres out wide, and then Uzuni and Christian Ramirez up top. Shorter bench with no Jaden, right? You had Danny, John Bell, Owen, BV, CJ, Damian, Sabo, and Duber. And dude, before the last, I guess 2 things before we get into this one. Brandon Vazquez. Look, we know a Superman thing, dude, but like, you dress up as Clark Kent now?
I like how there's like a little glare at the bottom too. Gives it a little more aura.
I know.
You know?
We weren't the only ones to point out that he looked, he had this look going. But dude, that's intentional. And like,
yeah, of course,
it's cute. I'm laughing at it.
It's good. It's good.
And then like, dude, on a serious note, 7-year-old Aura singing the national anthem yesterday. Top 3 anthem I've heard in that stadium, and I don't think it's 3. She was great. That was chills hearing that, man. And I think she raised the level of excitement in the stadium.
I mean, I think she got one of, if not the biggest, like ovation after it. And like also, usually we're filing in a little later than expected, and you can find us walking around while the anthem is going on, finding our seats. But I was waiting for you to come out of the bathroom. I was stopped. Like, shit, what's going on? I couldn't see this person like anywhere. I was like, who's fucking singing this? But that girl she had some pipes. Holy God. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah. So well done, Aura. Certainly welcomed back for another anthem down the road by the north end there. So let's get into this one. On the other side real quick. I mean, it was about as I was about to say Death Star lineup, but like for what St. Louis can roll out there.
Yeah.
It was pretty much their choice 11. Like you probably get Cordova out there if you don't have that midweek match and everything. Maybe one or both of the Falls is in the mix right on the back line. But like to have Eddie Leuven getting his first start of the year against us, it was like we joke just our luck beforehand. And then their lineup comes out. It's like, yeah, of course he is.
And like we understand what type of player Leuven is and the quality that he brings. Obviously, dealing with what he's been dealing with, my heart goes out to him for that. But to see him back out there in the field, he's scored now, I think, twice. Right, he got an Open Cup goal and he got a late goal in his first outing there. But like this was a team in St. Louis that, similar to us, was kind of building a little bit of positivity here. You're getting Leuven back. You dropped that heartbreaker to San Jose, who you had on the ropes there. And like, we're talking about the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum on the table, where we're talking about the highest ranked team right now and one of the lower ranked teams. And they really squandered that one. And then you go out, you get that Open Cup win versus the Fire. You're getting Leuven back to full strength here, full go. So they were building a little positivity. And I think it carried over, and you saw that in the first half of this game, because like I said, I think both teams could have been on the board here for more than what the final score was at 2-0. But they were building a little bit of positivity and getting this dude back. He's super dangerous. Pairing him with Hartel there, having those kind of dual 10s is threatening with both of those guys. They're different players, but like they can play well off each other. And I think they complement one another really well, because Leuven a bit more of a distributor defensive guy. And then Hartel, I think, has a fantastic array of moves, shots. He's a dangerous player. So I think they were building a little bit of positive momentum, and another team that really fucking needs it. Right now they're struggling, they're battling through stuff. So I was not thrilled to see Leuven starting that and that choice 11 after the midweek game where they took out Chicago Fire.
Mm-hmm. So we'll jump into this one in the 3rd minute. And Austin's kind of stuck in their own right corner for a few moments here early on. A lot of spot talk and Dessler pinging it back and forth under pressure. But here in the 3rd minute, Ramirez and Torres finally arrive, and those two are able to get that ball out from that corner and then connect on a nice 1-2 that sends Facu sprinting up the middle, and he threads a ball through wide right into the path of John Gallagher. And so you've got John and Uzuni, the 2-on-4. But John puts it into the box, and his service, you can see on the replay that it's deflected slightly, but that results in the ball bouncing across the face of net, and it ends up getting to the foot of Myrto, who's making a back post run. But by the time it arrives, Berkey slid over. He's in position to make the save. It was a tough angle for Myrto either way. But the first of many good looks for Austin here in this first half.
And this was not one of the moments where I think you score if you have Jaden out there. I think Johnny did well with this one. Starts with Facu, and another very solid performance from him yesterday. He won't just like shock you and amaze you with stuff, but he just does so many things really well. Like he just really does. This ball is perfectly weighted, gets Johnny into space, allows him to really open it up, put St. Louis on their back heel, trying to get back here. Good ball into the box, dangerous place for Myrto, man. And Berkey, man, had to be his best half of the season, maybe his best game of the year thus far. He was out of his mind in this first half of this game.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been great on the year, as we talked about in the preview episode, right? There's a 22nd minute is where we both looked at each other like, oh, he turns back into Roman Berkey today?
Yeah,
of course.
He's DP worthy now.
So it's actually Austin's next possession in the 4th minute, where they begin this possession from the back and they build down the left to the foot of Gallagher, who drops it back to Guilherme, and Biru plays a ball over the top into Uzuni running in behind that line, and he's got Ramirez making a back post run to his right. And dude, Myrto plays a hell of a ball here, right to the foot of Ramirez, who has to one-time it, and he pulls it wide of that far post. And when we saw this in the north end, I felt worse about it than seeing it from the broadcast angle. I still think Christian has to do better to put this on frame, but it was a tougher attempt than our angle looking at it straight on from 80 yards away made it look, to me on the rewatch at least. But dude, the fucking Myrto, the weight on this pass, it's obviously not the only time we're going to praise him here today, but this man is confident right now. He
is balling right now. I expect Christian Ramirez to put a shot on target here where the keeper's got to make a play.
Yeah, I do.
He's capable of that. I expect that out of him. And obviously he plays a great game. But I think he can do better with this.
7th minute, it's Austin keeping the pressure on early, and they earn a corner in this moment. And Facu's service on that corner is cleared away, but only as far as Rosales. And Austin cycles the ball around right to left, or Ilie finds Facu with space on that left side from where he took that initial corner. And Torres lumps one towards the back post that Heinz Ike is able to nod back across the face of net, where Johnny G's crashing that left post and just can't get on top of the ball to volley it into the net, and sends it over and into the south end. But I think I said to you after that first 10 minutes was like, well, we're not even to the end of the 10 minutes here. I could just say in the 9th minute, it's a great ball from Ilie to Ramirez, breaking 2 lines down that right side. Ramirez has space to splash across into the area where Uzuni gets across the face of his defender and tries to head it towards net, but it's just wide out for a goal kick. And I had in my notes here, so I'm glad I strung these two together, because definitely feeling like we could have done better in that moment too. Maybe even with the pass more to Myrto's feet rather than in the air. But through the first 10 minutes, we should absolutely have at least one shot on target, and that's what I think we could have done better, is just the finishing touch.
Yeah, for sure. Had to love the way that we approach this out of the gate here. You're really generating a lot of dangerous stuff. Berkey with some fantastic plays. A couple, the Ramirez, I think he should have done better with that. Johnny absolutely wants that one back. He can do way better with that. I do think that's a situation where if that's Jaden Nelson, he scores. But that's not to take anything away from Johnny, who I think played a very solid game on short notice. It was like, hey, get ready for 90, bud. Like, strap him in. Let's go do this. But you're generating a lot of good stuff, and you had this St. Louis defense really kind of scrambling with different types of balls that were coming out. Like you mentioned here, the double line breaking pass by Ilie. You have that one from Facu before, the cross from Ramirez to Uzuni. You're attacking them from different angles, hitting them with different looks. So a very, very encouraging start. And we've seen that before, with not just this iteration of Austin FC. We've seen it before with plenty of different iterations where it's like, oh, good chance. Great chance. No goals. Damn.
What I will say about Johnny and Jaden over there, right, is like not that the connection has been missing between like a Biru and a Jaden Nelson here early in the year, but I think we know the connection that Biru and Gallagher have. Not necessarily that these guys are assisting each other all the time and setting each other up for offensive opportunities, but the way that they can interchange and communicate and recognize when the other one needs cover. If you are the partner with Biru on that left side, you need to know about that because he is at any opportunity he can, he's going to take off up the field. And there were multiple times yesterday where John Gallagher just knew where to be when Guilherme needed that cover. And like sometimes it like, again, just like the body language doctor, it's almost like the full body eye roll when Guilherme takes off and John's like jogging back like, all right, man, I'm getting back.
I like how you said
go ahead, sorry.
I like how you said cover for one another and not just you have to cover for Guilherme because he's trying to press the keeper right now.
So 10th minute, St. Louis announced their presence into the game here. You got Volum, Hartel, and Leuven combining inside the Austin 18 on that right side of the field, and the ball gets laid off for Hartel, who gets a two-step run-up to have a hit at Stuver, and Brad palms it away with both hands for a corner. And that corner is cleared out, but 2 minutes later in the 12th, you got St. Louis back on the ball here and slicing through that Austin defense. And then I think the beneficiaries of a deflected ball that falls right to Eddie Leuven entering the area, and he dekes that one right around a charging Heinzike who's like desperate closeout here, and Leuven just kind of has to poke at it before another Austin defender can close him down. And luckily for Austin, that one goes up over the bar and out for a goal kick. But that was a position where I think they probably should have scored that one.
I thought this was a goal. As soon as it drops to him, he beats BHI here. He's got a wide open look at that upper left corner, and there's nothing Brad could do with this, just given the proximity of how close Leuven is and the power and pace he put on that one. I thought for sure this was going in, but this wasn't the first shot that they sent into the stands in this first half here. Or, excuse me, this was the first shot. It wasn't the only shot.
Yes.
They blasted into the stands there.
Yeah, for sure. 16th minute is Austin able to turn St. Louis over on a pass into the 18 that got cut out by BHI. And Heinzek clears it out low and fast, and it gets flicked up into the air by a St. Louis defender right into the path of Myrto Uzuni, who takes a really heavy touch forward and then begins a foot race. It's 1-on-2, but he's able to get to the ball first, and no help in sight after this sprint. And he kind of, slows up, checks his shoulder. He's like, all right, 1-on-2, I got to go do something. So he decides to go at McNaughton here, and he tries to nutmeg him, and McNaughton's able to take that ball off him. So gets denied, but I said at the time, and it held up after the rewatch, man, I do not hate that decision to try to make something happen by yourself in that moment.
No, we were having a conversation about it, and I was like, hope nobody flames him for this right now. Yeah. He had absolutely no support. I mean, I think there's only one or two guys that are even on this half of the field when he's making this run and like bearing down on both these guys. So a good way to approach this. You got to try to make something happen yourself. It just didn't work out. I was fine with it.
21st minute, Austin wins a free kick on the right, just over midfield inside that St. Louis half, and Facu lines up over it, and he just kind of swings it centrally to Dessler. We've seen a lot of those balls played short on the ground in these set piece opportunities. And so Dessler then lofts one kind of straight down towards the end line, shading it towards the left for Biru, and Guilherme gets up, nodding it towards the 6-yard box where Myrto Uzuni rises up like an eagle, heads home what's surely the opening goal. But a flailing Roman Berkey catches it with his left arm, denying Myrto the opener. And I think great play. Maybe the highest I've ever seen Myrto Uzuni jump, and just a better save, because even if you say this Berkey save is lucky, he's still making himself bigger in the right spot. And that's what great goalkeepers do, man. And this is the moment where we looked at each other like, oh, it's going to be one of those, huh?
Yeah, and just another moment where it's just like, God damn it. Like, who did Myrto wrong, like in a past life or something, where it's just like, these can't go in for the dude. Giving me Seba vibes here. This is classic kind of Seba. Oh, shit, that dude just got up. This is going in the back of the net. Like you said it perfectly. He made himself bigger. He got there.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
So 23-12 showing on the game clock here. Flag goes up on Austin for offside. St. Louis wait 35 seconds to take this free kick with one of their defenders, and then the defender leaves, and Berkey jogs out to it, so John Freeman goes over to, what the hell, guys? Yeah. It's the fucking 24th minute here. Berkey finally kicks the ball a minute and 3 seconds after the initial whistle. But that one bounces once and then forces Heinzike to head it out for a corner. So, I thought this was a little like some good shithousery here by St. Louis, no matter when it was in the game, because you then caught Austin sleeping. And again on the corner here, dude, because this is where ball comes in. I think it was Perez on that corner down there, far side from the broadcast camera in the north end. And he just lasers this ball straight down the end line on the ground. And as that ball comes in, Hartel just kind of screens Gallagher off the end line. So that ball makes it right to the foot of Simon Betcher, who rushed that near post. Brad Stuver sniffs this shit out immediately. The reaction time here, dude, is, at least for this league, for the keepers that we watch, this is an elite play. Mm-hmm. His IQ, the recognition, and to get this save, I know we had a recalc on the XG of this shot, which made a little bit more sense. Because it was initially showing like fucking 0.85 or some shit like that. But like heady play by St. Louis, a great call, right? We struggle on set. We have given up the most set piece goals in addition to scoring the most. But just right, it just felt like to me, or maybe at least off corners. I think that might 4 goals off corners conceded. Okay. I think is the stat, but St. Louis put us to sleep right there. And this was a 2-minute span where Austin definitely could have done better. And once again, Bradley Scott Stuver coming to the rescue.
I mean, I said it last night to you. I think if you're putting together his career highlight tape, this is on the tape. You know what I mean? It's not one of those, oh my God, diving, lunging saves to get a mitt on a really dangerous shot or keep us in the game late or what have you. It's just him sniffing this out, seeing it. And like the thing that I was so impressed with, like you have no one is tracking Betcher at all. So you have no movement to where this ball is actually coming from. And to be able to have the recognition to know where that he needs to be on that near post there was so impressive. And, I think Ramirez got man of the match, but it's probably Stuver again for me last night.
Yeah, stole my man of the match right out of my mouth. Because I think, and again, like Ramirez certainly deserving. But yeah, I mean, Brad, another fucking masterclass. And I will cut into the recap here, because we're about 20 minutes past 3:33. Congratulations to Scott K for winning the autograph Owen Wolff card there, And Scott has replied in our giveaways channel. What? Holy shit.
Nice. Congrats.
So shout out to Scott. Congrats on the card. We'll get that to you. I would imagine we can see you at the Sporting KC game there at the Q. So we will reach out to organize that, and then we'll jump back in here, at the 31st minute, where St. Louis is probing the right side of the Austin final third. Smooth combination down that flank that gives Hartel the ball with all the time in the world on that right side of the 18. He picks out Tomas Totland wide open at the back post, and we are very lucky here. No Stuver, immaculate reading of this ball. Like, you could have put this one into the net if you had a better volley attempt, and sends it over the bar out for a goal kick. So lucky in this moment.
Lucky, but now you're starting to see St. Louis generate some of these chances as well, where it's like, I think that they thought they deserved some goals, and I personally thought they probably deserved a goal here as well. As I mentioned, I thought that Leuven shot was going to be, we're going to have to take it out of the back of the net. Now you're down 1-0.
35th minute, Austin winning a long throw opportunity near side to the broadcast camera down there in the south end. And this is something that St. Louis was doing, like, for any NBA sickos that are listening. As soon as St. Louis goes up and contests a long throw in, we're like, Cornet contest?
Yeah. Dude,
like I don't know what they're doing there. I don't know.
I just don't think that that's effective. Right?
I don't either. Yeah, I don't
either. I don't see how that's impacting.
We're not looking at the rim. You're just throwing it to an area.
And it's like, even if he does make contact, it's just going to go back out of, unless it skims off of his head, which might even give it more of a dangerous kind of aspect. Like, we've never seen another team do this.
Yeah.
It was just fucking weird.
No, there's been at least once where a team has done this in the last like 5 years of like all the long throws that we've had. But yeah, it was maybe once or like maybe twice. But I remember seeing it before and being like, oh, but like, no, it's not something that's employed all that often. And I would imagine because again, on paper, it doesn't feel like it's all that effective.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we're not getting paid to be soccer coaches, but like, it just seems like it's not like you're taking a defender out of your box here. Yeah. You're a man up because there's a dude out of bounds.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, so Rosales hucks this into the mixer. Contest not effective. I guess maybe because St. Louis clears it away, but it comes to Facu at the edge of the box, and he moves it left side to Uzuni, who drops it back to Ilie, and the captain floats one to the back post for Facu on that left side. He drops it back to Uzuni. So, again, a lot of operating in tight spaces here for Austin. And Uzuni lingering at the top of the box. He just one-times it towards the back post on the right side. Guilherme Biru goes up over two St. Louis defenders here, scores it. Everybody goes crazy. John Freeman immediately running in, waving his arms. No goal. And 10 seconds or so later, they show the replay in the stadium. And, like, for a replay that's not showing a collision, this was the loudest "oh" from the crowd I've ever heard, because Guilherme Biru just slaps this ball into the net with his hand, and he gets a yellow card. But they do check a potential penalty here, because under those two St. Louis players that had fallen, they had pushed John Gallagher to the ground. So, like, seeing that on the replay here this morning, doing our rewatch, I don't know if you have a different opinion. No issue for me on this not being a penalty. Although I do think we've seen softer pins given in the past for guys just getting run into. But I don't think it was crazy to not call one there. So, and again, like, the hand, even the team wasted no time posting a clip saying the hand of Biru. Here's another chapter in the legend of Biru.
The legend grows. And Miami's cursed now. That stadium is cursed. Biru has cursed them. So, like, you get this, and like, yeah, we're all wondering what the fuck is going on. Then they're reviewing a potential penalty. You see the slap. It's like, holy shit. You know, we're asking for a goal, but not like that. And then I love how he stands up. He's like, what? What did I do? You know, he points at John. He's like, no, John scored that.
38th minute. Sure looks like a handball here on Conrad Vollum.
Sure does.
Field, but no call. And Hartel ends up finding Perez with space at the top of the box. And Perez rips one on target, but it's right at Stuver. And, like, I think the chances to this point of the first half feel fairly even, and that maybe both teams deserve a goal by this point in the 40th minute. The chances keep coming here. Turnover near their own 18 by Austin, and Perez fizzes it across the face of net. Simon Betcher comes to meet it at the near post, and he whiffs it, which allows Stuver to get down and paw it away. And then Austin able to quickly counter down the right side from Facu to Ramirez, and Ramirez changes it right to left all the way to John Gallagher. And Johnny G drops it back to Facu, who's crashing the box, trailing the play, and his shot is put right at Berkey, and the danger is cleared away. And then stoppage time, 2 minutes. Austin gets the final threat of the half here on a breakaway that ends up with an Ilie shot from the top of the box, gets deflected out for a corner, and nothing doing on that ensuing corner, and that final whistle blows, and it ends what I think was fair to say is a frustrating half for Austin FC.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say frustrating. You know what I mean? I feel like you had to have felt good about the stuff that you were doing. Obviously, you weren't getting the results, the tangible stats where it's like you're on the board, you're up 1-0, 2-0 on this team. You also, as we mentioned, could have conceded here at least once, in my opinion. So I don't know. I felt encouraged with what I was seeing. I hope that the players felt that way, but I do understand a potential level of frustration where it's like, we got nothing to show for this right now. But you looked like the better team to start this game, and St. Louis did respond a little bit, get some stuff moving and generating. But I think Austin had to feel good about what you were being able to put towards Berkey. I mean, the flailing kind of save there. These last two shots at the end of the half, that Ilie shot is definitely on target. The deflection, I thought the Facu shot was nice as well. So I was still encouraged with what you were doing. Would I have loved to have a goal? Of course. But I think that they had a bunch of threatening looks that were coming from different angles and different spots, and you were generating a lot of good-looking offensive stuff here.
So I think just like the stats backing up my feeling that it was frustrating, the fact that you created 4 big chances on FOTMob's model in one half and missed all 4.
Yeah,
that's pretty frustrating.
I got you. I got you.
St. Louis also created 4 big chances and, of course, missed all 4. So frustration all around. And so there was no changes at the half for either team. But this is a first, E. St. Louis does boot the kickoff right out of bounds behind them. It wasn't like we booted it forward. We kicked it on the ground out of bounds. Fucking idiots.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that strategy in the old how do you want to start the game question.
Yeah, you can add that to the list, Scott.
Yeah.
51st minute, you get a yellow card. First one of the match for St. Louis. Timo Baumgartel picks one up for going through the back of Ramirez's legs on a challenge near midfield. 55th minute, Austin now is a long throw in the north end, near side to the broadcast camera, and Rosales backs up all the way to take this one, not just to be able to get it into the box, but because for the second time, we've got a cornet contest on the long throw. And that throw-in's headed away by St. Louis, but out to Mikael Dessler, who peels back to try to play it all the way back to Brad. But he scuffs this pass so badly that he plays Hartel in by himself. And Hartel's got like 35 or 40 yards just to sprint right at Stuver with the ball at his feet. And so he's got Simon Betcher to his left, Ilie in pursuit in between those two guys, but trailing the play. And then Dessler trailing that group, seeing his life flash before his eyes at this moment. And Brad does his best to feint at Hartel. And it's hard to say that he doesn't influence this at all because Hartel does lay this off to the left for Betcher. But the pass is a little heavy. And Betcher, I think, also lets it run through onto his left instead of trying to use his right and kind of banana kick it, in which he had all the goal is open here.
Yes.
And we get as lucky as we ever have that Betcher puts this into the side netting. And we said it at the time when it happened. And watching the replay, man, again, they say similar things on the broadcast that this miss is a new lease on this game for Austin. And you just have to capitalize because just from a mental standpoint now that you get this gift, now we have to go do something with these chances that we're creating on the other end. Because, like, neither team is going to get a better one than that.
No, good Lord. I mean, obviously just an absolute disaster for Dessler here. I think a weird bounce, you know what I mean? Kind of threw him off. He wasn't really stable as
Look,
well.
We're playing for both teams, to be fair. Playing afternoon, sun's out, grass is dry. Fuck.
True. But also, he would have had to hit the shit out of this to get this back to Brad. Like,
yeah, I mean, he could have, and Brad can come out to meet it, but he just
sure.
He kicked it with his calf.
Yeah, no. I think it takes a weird bounce. Like I said, I don't think he was completely stable. And then I do, like you said, I think it's hard to argue that Brad did not make even a 1.3% chance on this play where it's just like, okay, that threw Hartel off a little bit. I mean, they score this 99 times out of 100.
Yeah,
he's wide open. You know what I mean? And Ilie's tracking back. He's way behind. Svati is on his horse, but, you know, that horse is almost lame. Dessler is not in the play. You know what I mean? And it's just like, that's just wide open here, man. And, man, oh, man. Life flashing before our eyes. And like you said, you have to respond now because this was, of all the bad luck and shitty things that happened this season, this was the luckiest play of the year for Austin thus far.
Yeah. Well, and that shot, just on FOTMob's model to illustrate how much that should have been a goal, 0.77 XG, which is about equal to a penalty kick. And also more XG on that single shot than any other player accumulated in total in the match.
Wow.
So again, stats backing up the eye test that, an open net, you should fucking score it. And Austin very lucky that they did not break the clean sheet there. So St. Louis makes the first changes of this one. Cordova and Mbake Fall come in for Leuven and McNaughton. And even though Cordova, we know how dangerous he can be up front, I will take the swap for Leuven going off the field every day of the week. And then 65th minute, Austin breaks the seal, so to speak. Dani Pereira makes his return to play, subbing on for Ilie. And of course, in that moment, the armband goes back to Brad Stuver. 68th minute, you get a yellow card to Chris Durkin for pulling back on Facu Torres. Potential breakaway chance there by near midfield. Is a nice turn by Facu and a professional foul by Durkin. But off that free kick in the 69th minute, Austin plays it short and then out to the left where John Gallagher lofts a ball towards the back post. And that service gets headed out of play by Dante Polvara for an Austin corner. Facu puts that corner into the 18 and it scoots past everyone at the near post and kind of trickles into some open space where Alexander Svatok sprints to track it down and he slides to the ground to knock this ball out to Myrto Uzuni at the top of the 18. And Myrto's left of net here. He squares it across the top of the box to Dani, who's kind of equally wide right of the target. And Pep takes a peek up, pokes a pass over the top of everyone in tight quarters to Christian Ramirez, who had checked his run to stay onside and is now all alone at the back post. The ball from Pep drops in perfectly for Christian to get enough power on that header to go off of Roman Berkey's glove and into the net for the lead. So Christian, his third goal in an Austin FC uniform. And all three of those, when they have been scored, have been game winners. Of course, Toronto ended up turning into a draw, but huge, timely goals from CR here in his short Austin tenure. And not to go ignored, fantastic pass by Dani. And just like, now that the dam has broken, exhale for the moment. And through all of this, Guilherme Biru is down injured. He ends up being okay. But man, you love to see it, man. You love to see it.
Absolutely love to see it, right? This ball from Pep, fantastic. Having him get back into this game and being able to contribute almost immediately was wonderful to see. CR, man, what a signing. What a get he has been. Holy smokes. Again, we've talked about, like I mentioned at the top here with my, affinity for potentially starting Ilie over Pep, the intangibles, the veteran leadership, the savviness that Ramirez has brought, and then obviously the finishing ability on top of that has really, really buoyed this team with all the injuries they've had to start this season. Guilherme celebrating from the ground. Classic Guilherme there. And it was a little bit of a deep breath kind of exhale because you also know what's looming, right? Mm-hmm. Owen's going to be coming on. BV's going to be coming on. There will be some expectation around them with the more, fans who aren't super in tune and everything. But like those guys were not, you can't ask those guys to come and be like, hey, go win us this game right now in the 10 minutes that you're going to be getting in this matchup. So having that kind of in the back of the mind sets that moment up so much more nicely where it's like, okay, those guys can come in, work this little rust off a little bit, get back into the groove. So this was a huge, huge moment for Austin. And I think at this point in the time, I felt, at this very moment, I felt confident that Austin was going to see this out and get 3 points out of this game because of Leuven going out, the way St. Louis has looked, obviously getting that gift from the soccer gods where they're not able to finish that Betcher chance. But they respond really well and start having some pretty dangerous chances like right after this moment.
Yeah, I was going to say 73rd, you get a double change. Mikey Joyner and Falufal come in for Perez and Betcher. And this is where St. Louis flips the script. And you see, like, just for a few minutes, Austin going kind of back to the Austin that we know over the last year and change, where you get that lead and you just sit back. 75th minute, St. Louis progressing the ball into the Austin final third very quickly off a Roman Berkey boot. The Austin defense recovers in transition here, and Hindsight clears the initial service into the box out, but only as far as Volum. And Volum finds Totland at the top of the 18. He picks out Marcel Hartel with space on the right post, and his shot is cleared off the line by Hindsight. Austin able to clear the danger. And I think, dude, like, watching the replay and then going through the notes again here on the show, Brendan had a great game yesterday. And again, it's obviously been 2 straight clean sheets for the same back line out there in the starting lineup. So I want to give the whole unit their credit. But Hindsight, man, he's either clearing a goal off the line or he's getting knocked out by a ball because he's trying to clear it off the line. And just like, talk about these guys, him and Svatok both. I know they're not the only ones, but multiple times this season where you can think back to those two starting center backs sacrificing their body for the team.
Absolutely. Two guys who are willing to do the dirty work to make sure that you're helping out Brad Stuver to get a clean sheet here. It's a heady play by BHI, keeping them off out of the back of the net here. And, if he'd given up that goal, then it would have been super tight butthole. And he would have been feeling really shitty almost automatically. So this was a nice little spurt by St. Louis. I do think, shifting Cordova, because when Cordova's initially subbed on, he's kind of on the wing position, and then moving him up front. I think that changed a little bit for how they were looking.
Came off.
So shout out BHI. Huge play here. Huge play.
The next minute, St. Louis probing again, and Mbake Falls able to thread a pass through to Joyner. Joyner immediately touches it on to Hartel, who finds Cordova on a run into the box, but Svatok is there close enough to disrupt the shot attempt, and Stuver makes an easy save at his near post. But Austin starting, as you can tell, starting to take on water since the goal, and in the 81st minute, crowd starts to stir as Owen Wolff jogs to the bench area to come on for his season debut. As he does that, St. Louis has a corner kick that's plucked out of the air in that south end by Stuver. And Brad just kind of like grenade lobs it over the top into the path of Rosales. And Austin's off on a breakaway here. It's 5-on-5. Then a sixth defender joins the fray as Joseph hits Facu, who's hugging that left sideline. And Torres one-times it to Gallagher, who's running in behind towards the end line. And like a little bit heavy on the pass, but Gally's able to run it down just in time. Pulls across back from that inline towards the spot that trickles into the path of Ramirez, who's crashing the box. But instead of smashing that one towards net, there's two defenders in position to attempt a block here. He lays it off to his right for Myrto Uzuni, who's able to take two quick steps to set his feet and bury a shot inside that far post to really, blow the roof off Q2 and really put the game to bed here. And on the broadcast, we got text in the moment and then a couple tags after the match. The broadcast shows the North End boys. So definitely not our wildest celebration in that moment. But man, like going back to the play, fantastic transition play on the offensive side of the ball here for Austin. And even after the 6 or 7 minutes of handling the pressure at the back, to be able to score this from open play is a departure from what we're used to from a Nico coach team when you go up 1-0 late at home. Like, they finally scored that goal because, right, you get the second one last week, and that was great. But it was in the first half. It's a little bit different than getting that second one on the heels of the opening goal so late in the match, and to continue pushing for that, to be able to execute in one of the, you're only going to have so many chances because you still are focusing more. I don't want them to just ignore defense and not play like they're up 1-0, But this is just, again, it's a departure. It's what we've been looking for when you can get these late leads, because it just slams the door on a team like St. Louis especially. Yep, absolutely. Just keeps them without any hope here. Great little throw by Stuver to get this play initiated, get us a little ignition going on here. I thought Johnny makes a great decision earlier in the game. These weren't in the notes. I just thought there was moments where he was getting a little too cute. Like, John, you're not a one-on-one guy. We're not expecting you to beat dudes off the dribble here. Let's just get this ball into a dangerous area. Does that here. The unselfishness of Ramirez to not, he's inside the box here. Like, most of the time, strikers are trying to score this goal to dump it off to Myrto, and then a class finish for Myrto, who has been absolutely on fucking fire as of late. The dude's been balling. He's got his joy back. He's got his confidence back. It is visible. You can see it. And now he is pairing I'm a little pit bull demon and I'm going to play my ass off with hey, I'm also scoring now, and it looks fucking good. This is a great finish with the off foot there. And like you said, just, Steph Curry, night, put him to bed here. This game was over. Well, and then after the goal, and like the goal kind of spoils Owen Wolff coming on a little bit because you don't really get the appropriate ovation there. But Wolff makes his 2026 debut on for Ramirez. John Bell also comes in for Biru to see this one out. 5 minutes later in the 87th, yellow card to BHI for a collision with Cordova near midfield, who I think I've said his name 2 different ways the entire podcast. Also get Brendan McSorley in for Durkin, my least favorite St. Louis player of all time. And as St. Louis desperate for goals here, of course. 2 minutes later, 89th minute, huge ovation as CJ and BV come in for Facu and Myrto. Vazquez returns to the pitch, I believe 299 days after his injury. And look, man, like, also, I think maybe not that this is some big overarching point on the night, but since when have we been able to take off 2 of our DPs late in a match and not care? And not good, like, because we're not losing.
Right? It's like good job, boys.
Yes.
A little pat in the back. Go rest. Your work is done for today. Yes, totally agree. So happy for BV. So happy for Owen. It's probably just a nice relieving moment to have all of that hard work going into getting healthy and getting right, and then to be able to be there in front of the home crowd and everything. And being up 2-0 sure makes that a whole lot sweeter in the moment than it already was. So just so happy to have these dudes back, man.
There's 5 minutes of stoppage shown in the second half. In the 3rd minute, we get a camera angle of Coach Nico in the technical area. And behind him on the bench, you can see Ilie and Uzuni with Biru sitting in between them. Ilie and Uzuni are kissing each other's hands like they're kings or something, dude. Like, if you haven't seen this yet, we will drop the link to that clip into the Patreon Discord. But you can go back in stoppage time and see it, man. They show him again like 30 seconds later after a galley shot is missed for a goal kick. And they're just like having a great time, like giggling with each other. Like they put their heads together, like viewers in the middle of them, just like smiling, like what's going on?
Good vibes.
It's like we've been waiting to see these guys have some fun, and they are clearly enjoying the performances of the last 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Good vibes. And as I mentioned before, those rivalry wins, when you beat a team like that, it gives you a little more of a window where it's like, hey, we feel good about ourselves right now.
So the final whistle blows, 56% possession for Austin at the end of this one. It was 16 shots to 15 in favor of Austin, and 6 shots on target to 5 also in favor of Austin. 5 big chances created, 4 missed. So you see that only 1 big chance created in that second half. You convert it, but after the 4 missed big chances in the first half, a departure from what we saw in that first 45. On the other side, St. Louis, you can see it on the screen if you're watching the YouTube, 6 big chances created and, of course, missed all 6. 6 corners to 4 for St. Louis, and on FOTMob's model on the recount, because it was way out of whack with like almost 3.5 XG for St. Louis at the end of the game yesterday. So on the recalc, 1.78 for Austin, 2.19 for St. Louis. And like it typically does, I think the expected goals on target tells a better story. 2.99 for Austin, 1.71 for St. Louis. And I think the thing that stands out to me on this is the big chances created for the opponent. That is something that is starting to be a pattern. Like, you're not losing all of these matches, but you're giving up a lot more than we're used to. And it feels like it's like the give and take. It's like, okay, we can open things up offensively a little bit more, but we're softer at the back.
Yep.
And I don't think that it has to be one or the other. I think we should be able to do both. That's what the good teams do in this league. So that's something that I am looking for going forward, at least over these 4 remaining games leading up to the break, is like, can we continue to string these results together, but have more of a complete performance? Because I know, like, in a lot of aspects, this was one. But I'm also always going to be looking for things to improve. Like, that was far from a flawless performance as much as I enjoyed it and the team needed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I discussed the defense a little bit and how we were an elite level defense to start with Nico and how that has kind of fallen to the wayside here. 6 big chances for this St. Louis club is a lot. And as you mentioned, it has become a bit of a pattern here. Obviously, getting that one with Betcher was a fluke play. But they did have some good looks. The Leuven look in the first half was a really good one as well. Obviously, the corner to Betcher was a very tough one as well. But still, we got to get healthy. You know what I mean? Like, am I worried about the 6 big chances? Probably in the back of my mind a little bit, but I'm still going to be able to enjoy and celebrate this win for this team, and specifically how the guys are kind of looking in this moment with the joy kind of returning, Myrto's confidence building, and then getting healthy on top of that. But that is a severe amount of big chances for a team that is not particularly potent on the offensive side of the ball.
Get the rare 50-50 even split on the field tilt there in this one, E. And I also wanted to bring up, since we noticed it last week as well, those passes into the final third for Austin. Once again, the most number of those passes were made by Joseph Rosales for the second match in a row. Game score, E, from the Patreon Discord was a flat 4. At time of recording here today. So that ties the LAFC draw at home for the highest game score of the season. And I think makes sense. Honestly, I'm a little surprised it didn't crest that 4 mark there. But I also understand that our Patreon members are being very judicious with handing out 5s.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, can't seem to give them out willy-nilly. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was a 4, and it comes back to those 6 big chances and the fact that the defense wasn't, completely locked in for this matchup. I'm waiting to hit that 5. And I think I did give a 5 for Miami though.
I'm waiting to hit that 5. Wait, I think I did it.
I think I already did it
for a draw. Hey, but we were pumped after that draw.
Yeah. Bless you.
Best draw in club history. Some of the Nico comments from last night. Again, it's I think everybody is going to nitpick those a lot less when you're 2 wins on the bounce here, E. And I will say, Austin FC, not just the 2-game win streak, the only Western Conference team currently on a win streak. So suck it, everybody. Nico kind of summarizing how they played. He said, we started really well in the game. I think we should score a couple times in the first half, but it was very clear that the chances we created saw a lot of good connections. Think the game plan offensively worked very well. We moved them one side to the other side, and from the right players to link and then accelerate play. In these moments, if you capitalize on those moments and score the goals, the game can go in a different way. And of course, the vibes, if you go to We Are Austin, who puts out the clips from the locker room talking with the players, they've got the music blasting in there. There's smiles all around, dudes laughing, when they're getting asked questions. And so it really feels again, tying these 2 wins together for the first time in I don't know. I think the last time we won 2 consecutive matches, all comps, was the It Can Only Good Happen week with Minnesota Open Cup and then Seattle. So it's been since September since we won back-to-back games. And, dude, this is the first time since April 27th, 2024 for back-to-back clean sheet victories for the club, which was first the 1-0 Rigoni smash-and-grab win at Houston, followed up by the 2-0 Galaxy win at home. And that was also our buddy Jose's bachelor party, which was a fantastic weekend all around. So, the fact that it's been now over 2 years since we had back-to-back clean sheet wins, again, just underscores not just how important these 2 wins were, but how rare this has been. So, again, we were celebrating yesterday, feeling great. I'm still feeling great today. And I think every Austin FC fan should feel very positive about what this team has done, taking care of business. Again, you didn't win anything grand here, no trophies or whatever, but you have now put the train back on the tracks, and now we're trying to get it up to full speed headed into the break.
Absolutely. And if you just jump back a little ways, right, you're coming off the Louisville disaster, the Galaxy disaster, and getting absolutely throttled by San Jose in that matchup. And now you're sitting here, and like you said, the vibes are turning and changing a little bit. The fan base is feeling a little bit more positive about this club, and you're starting to get healthy. And one of the guys who we've been asking to play better pretty consistently has been playing way better in Myrto Uzuni. So I'm definitely going to bask in this and enjoy this for a little while here. We'll get this Minnesota preview out to the masses later this week, and then shift the focus to that. And I think it's another game you can get points from. I don't know how many points I feel are available quite yet, but I do think you can get points off that Minnesota team.
Yeah, I'm saving all my Minnesota thoughts for Thursday's episode. And again, reminder for this week and next week, given the schedule, the Minnesota match is another Sunday match. So we are Thursday, Monday, Thursday for the next 3 episodes following this one, because we also have a midweek match at San Diego next week. But we cannot leave this match in the rear view without congratulating Christian Ramirez on his second Team of the Week nomination here, sitting on that bench, same spot that Myrto was last week. And look, this was a very tough week to break into the team of the match day, considering how many giant individual statistical performances there were. I mean, I'm looking at this team. I know Ojeda had a hat trick. Yep. Montanu had a brace. I think Evander, had a hat trick at the end of that one.
I think so.
Which are going to be some huge best ball scores this week. But congrats to Christian. And I don't know, man. I thought Brad deserved his first shout of the year.
Shit. Yeah. God, would that be his first one of the season?
I think so, yeah.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, he was fantastic, but he'll get there for sure. And shout out to Christian, man. Again, can't be understated how important he has been for bullying this club and the start of this season here.
Well, I didn't post this graphic, that we had ready to go earlier this morning, because looking into it more, it seems like there's a little bit of an issue with the American Soccer Analysis database of stats, because in their database right now, Brad Stuver, by far the best shot stopper in the league, preventing north of 8 expected goals so far this season. But they also are missing 1 goal scored for us and 1 goal conceded. So I didn't want to put that out there before they had the chance to get all of their ducks in a row there. But he's got so much buffer on the next keeper in that stat, the goals minus expected goals. Like, he's the best shot stopper in the league so far this year. And like, we were laughing after the San Jose debacle, right? That like, even though that was such a disaster, that he still beat the expected goals against in that one, even in conceding 5 goals. So I just wanted to shout out Brad again. Whenever we get those numbers finalized from ASA, probably boost that one out there again. But look, tell your friends, tell Matt Doyle, Brad Stuver, best shot stopper in the league right now, and it's not close. And Michael Collodi is not in the top 10. So shout out to Brad.
Hey, took my joke right there. I was going to say he's the second best keeper in the state.
Also the first time that we have beat St. Louis City at Q2 Stadium. So it was about time with the way that club has been.
Rest easy, Kip Keller.
Yeah.
You can rest now, my son.
So I want to close out this game, by talking about Myrto Uzuni. And of course, you were discussing the form that he's in right now, and how his him being that little kind of pit bull running around the field, right, is now, all of that hard work is paying off in the counting stats, because after his goal yesterday, Myrto now leads Austin FC in goal contributions with 8. He's got 4 goals and 4 assists in his 11 league games. That's a pace of 24.7 goal contributions in a season, which I think would put him in the a little bit above Diego Fagundes 2022. Again, that is a lofty pace to continue for the rest of this season, because 7 of those contributions have come in his last 5 games. But I'm not taking anything away from the guy, and it seems like you said, the good performances are now building on each other, and in turn, his confidence. And you're seeing that play out with the finishing. If it wasn't for Roman Berkey in net yesterday, he might have a brace off that header. So it's just awesome to see, man. But that leads us into our listener question for this episode, and it's from our buddy Dave Smith. And Dave says, so do we still want to trade Uzuni during the summer window? He said, also, his family is here now. That has to help his mental game. What's your take?
Well,
I'll say this. It's an annoying question because I don't want to have this shred of doubt introduced into my thinking about Myrto, because I've said so many times on the show, I wanted this guy to be my favorite player so bad. What he has done in the last 5 games is what I expected we were going to get out of him. Maybe not right away, but over time.
Yeah.
And so, like, of course, this shit is happening right before we go into the summer window.
I mean, we talked about it months ago, I think, and if he was playing well like this, it's a win-win. You're playing well for the club, but you're also raising your potential value and what Roto can work with in regard to shopping you all over the place. And we knew that there was some interest before the season about, him potentially leaving, potentially out the foot out the door almost. To go ahead and get out of here. It does give me a little pause. You know what I mean? And we've talked about his struggles, and I think rightfully so with some of the stuff that's going on with him. But we've also talked about the fact that he just wasn't deployed the way that he's most comfortable playing out there. You know what I mean? We've seen him now in this dual striker look where he just looks like he is way more involved in the game. And once you make Christian Ramirez, Brandon Vazquez, I think that complements him even more, because Ramirez does not have the type of hold-up game and stuff that Vazquez has. And the ability for Myrto to kind of play off of that, I want to see what that looks like. And then if you're introducing Owen Wolff behind those two guys, and then opening up Facu on the wing to be putting balls into the mix for both of them, you would think, on paper, that makes a lot of fucking sense to me. Obviously they have to go out there and execute and play, but I'll say this, I'm gonna Marshawn Lynch here and just say that I'm here so I won't get fined, but I will address this a little later on and see what it looks like when we get to the World Cup break. And because that's when it's actually going to pick up the steam, and you're about to hit that summer transfer window. There's going to be hungry teams calling. And again, I think almost anyone on this roster is available for the right price. There ain't nobody that's just flat out untouchable on this team outside of maybe Stuver, but nobody's paying out the ass for him, I would imagine. So I reserve my right to answer this question a little later. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And like, you bring up a couple good points that I think were crossing my mind when I read this question as well. Like, first being the win-win, right?
Yep.
Whether you're trying to sell him or not, his value goes up if Myrto is scoring and assisting every game, right? Yep. 7 in the last 5 is not going to keep up. But like, if the team, say you win 3 of the last 4 here, maybe even all 4, then you're sun running. And like, if he keeps up anywhere close to this rate, then like, I think it's a real conversation for me on what I want to do with him.
It's multifaceted, right? Because it's like, who's coming in? Are you getting another DP?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's multifaceted.
I don't think you're moving him in the summer, regardless, unless you have a plan of who's going to come in and replace him. It was it was a Turkish club, right? In February, I think.
Gudunganspor?
Trabzonspor, I think is how you say that. But either way.
Gudunganspor?
Gudunganspor. There's your title.
Middle Earth.
Yeah. I'm going to need you to spell that out for me later so I can make it the title. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like, clearly, because Bogert picked up that report. So like, it feels like there was substance to Myrto at least being amicable to leaving. So like, I don't think we should ignore that part of it either. It may be that he's like, all right, man, like I do want to move on, like if we have the right offer. So we'll see, man. I guess I will also kind of abstain. I guess no, I could say where we sit today, my mind has not been changed. Okay. But I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'm definitely not still 100% go get it done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I have shifted. So yeah, okay. I guess I did.
There's other guys too who have kind of taken some of it, like Savovich is just like drawing all of the ire right now.
Yeah.
So, like,
send him to Gudunganspor.
Yeah. Oh shit, man. Anything else for you on this one? We could talk about the wins way longer than the losses.
Yeah, for sure. Just happy for the guys, man. Happy that they can fucking have a nice, little start to their week here and everything and get this thing rolling. Come on.
Come down to Farmer Field where the champions play. Get ready for the game. It's last business day.
Last business day on episode 304 of the North End podcast. And as I navigate over to the second team's box score, I did notice I was trying to be a little bit of a smartass and look up some Facu expected assist stats. And I see that Lionel Messi is leading MLS with expected assists on FotMom's model, 4.9. That's a full 1.1 over second place. And he has 1 assist. Just to highlight, I don't think Messi is the problem in Miami. It might be the teammates that he's with. Not fucking finished. That's a crazy number.
That
5 expected. Like, and for a guy like Messi, you'd expect him to probably beat those numbers more often than not. So, all right, moving back, getting back on track here. Austin FC 2 headed up north to take on North Texas SC on Saturday night. And so you get the lineup. There was no Riley Thomas in this one. I am imagining that he may be still tending to a little bit of an injury, right? He missed a game or two at the beginning of April, if I recall correctly, after coming off early against Tacoma. So you had Daniel Chesla in there right back in Riley's stead. You also get Jorge, Micah, and Irvin out there in the starting lineup, which you love to see with the second team since the first, because that also means first team getting healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Lauta in net, so Charlie Farah not ready to come back yet from that separated shoulder. And I think also notable pregame that Eric Feliciano, right, one of our new U16s that came over from the Orlando City Academy, goes right back to the second team bench, returning from his youth national team duty, right? We saw that. That's where it really kind of turned up for us, seeing Feliciano just toy with the U16 Argentinian backline, right? But we had been hearing about this kid. We noted his debut a few weeks back. And then I also heard our buddy Hernan on the Top Flight podcast, right? We know he's also very into the Boy Factory as we are. So he's been out to a couple games this year, and he was talking about, Feliciano, like this is the kid to watch. So again, I did take note that Feliciano went right back to the bench here. And we also got some scoops out there from our buddy Cagle, who, right, we had Commando Cagle in the North End Patreon. Now we've got courtside Cagle. I don't care if it's a court or not, standing down there behind the boards at Choctaw on the broadcast, giving us some information pre and post game there. So shout out to Cagle, who we also, I mean, we talked about dedication, Holmes, like goes to the FCTO game in DFW on Saturday. Him and August come down. We get to see them post-match for the win. August first win, so congrats, buddy. So shout out to Courtside Cagle there, informing the Discord. We got some first-team minutes predictions from him talking to some second-team players on Saturday.
He was putting in work, man. And like you said, making that drive and everything, awesome. And for August to get his first win, welcome, buddy. They're few and far between.
So you can see the starting lineup if you're watching on the YouTube. We mentioned Lauta in net. Backline, Chesla, Watt, Barry, Kayeli. Midfield, Irvin Torres, Jacobaro, Jorge with the band. And up front, Ibrahim Asal up top, flanked by Micah Burton and Stefan Dobrahevich. And in the 9th minute, Austin gets out in transition after turning North Texas over on top of Austin's penalty area. Jorge plays it out wide for Stefan, who drives at the North Texas defender on that left side into the 18. And Dobrahevich loses the handle, but Jorge picks up the loose ball, scoops it over the top towards Micah on the right side of the 18, and Burton takes a couple touches centrally before slipping a pass through to Jorge, who had worked his way inside the top of the 18, and Alistue turns, fires. His shot looks to me like it may have been deflected. If it wasn't, it's even more impressive because this effort does find the back of the net, and Austin FC2 has a lead inside the first 10 minutes, and feeling good.
Absolutely, man, and I'm so happy for Micah. You know, it's been a rough start to this season thus far, but to see the game that he was able to play versus a rival here and get this assist to start out this match, awesome to see.
Yeah. Yellow card to Jacobaro in the 18th for a challenge on Garcia near midfield. 4 minutes later, yellow card to Ricky Lewis for taking out Alistue just outside the 18 on the near side to the broadcast camera. And So Fcito gets a set piece there in that dangerous spot, but Jorge puts it over everyone and out for a goal kick. So we'll jump to stoppage time here. It's just 1 minute given in the first half, and Lauta scoops up a North Texas effort on net, and then he rolls it out to Jules Berry. And Berry boots this one long. It takes one big bounce over everybody in the North Texas half. All three defenders sprinting back to it are not faster than Micah Burton in this moment. He beats them all to it, chips the keeper, doubles the lead with the last kick of the half. Goal and an assist for Micah. His first contributions of the season.
Ooh.
And maybe the best half of soccer he's played, certainly from a counting stats perspective. Best half of soccer he's played with the second team, potentially.
Yep, and as I said, just super, super happy for him. We were all super excited about his rise with this club and everything, kind of stalled out, but these journeys are not linear. Sometimes you're going to go through some trials and stuff like that. You got to fight your way through it. And for him to come out in this matchup and have such an impact on this game was just a wonderful thing to see for him.
So in the second half, as you can see on the screen, not much goes on outside of some subs and some cards. North Texas, Charles in for Ospina at the half. 52nd minute, Jorge picks up a delayed yellow card after pulling back a North Texas player in transition. Failed to stop the break there, still got the card. 4 minutes later, Micah gets a yellow. Hard challenge here. No real doubt about that one's very physical play. Two changes for Austin, rather, in the 60th. Feliciano comes in for, I believe, his second appearance with Fcito. Adrian Gonzalez also in. Dobrevich and Alistue take their leave. 4 minutes later, Vlad and Mo Badawia in for Ibrahim Asal and Micah Burton. On the other side, Contreras in for Salazar. 75th, two more changes for North Texas. 83rd, final changes for both teams. Marcel Ruzel comes on for Jacobaro, and Lucene comes on for Nice for North Texas. So I think that is the offspring of Peter Lucene, who is now the head coach of Atletico Dallas or whatever they call that new USL team. He was the interim after Nico got fired for FC Dallas. So that's his kid still in the system there. And in stoppage time, 4 minutes given, I think, maybe 5, but in the fourth. Austin trying to pile on. At the end of this one, they work it down the pitch quickly on the right side. They end up finding Micah Burton all alone in the box with the keeper, Montoya. And credit to the keeper here, making the save on Micah's curling attempt out for a corner, and the final whistle blows before Austin can take it. So you give North Texas their first home loss of the season, and you extend the Austin FC2 undefeated streak to 6 games. Have not lost since that disappointing opening night. Now on 13 points through their 7 matches played. And like you look above them in the table, Ventura County on 14 points to Austin's 13. We've got 2 games in hand. St. Louis City up there on 23 points, tied with Dynados in first place. We've got 2 games in hand on them, a game in hand on Dynados, a game in hand on Loons too. You're in a pretty darn good spot here, and it seems like I don't even think we ever had a ship to right, so to speak.
Yeah.
But again, like bouncing back from the opening day disappointment to not see a loss since then, we're into the month of May, man. It's been a good run of form for these guys, and I hope they can keep it up. Obviously, as the first team gets healthier, the second team gets more weapons as well.
Yep, absolutely. They've really, really strung together some impressive performances here. They've beaten rivals, they've beaten quality teams, and for that, I mean, and like even with that first game, it was just the disaster kind of start that put you so far behind the starting line in that game that you weren't able to recover. So a lot of positivity out of this Austin FC2 club, and I'm super excited to get out to the pitch, particularly when the World Cup's on and we don't have to worry about the first team stuff and just get out there and see these boys play. So shout out to them and the coaching staff, who I think has found some rhythm, found some guys that they can really trust out there, and you're getting good performances, obviously, out of Jorge all the time. Micah, if you can get hot right now, that'll be great as well.
That's a good call. I will correct myself because Micah did sub out there. So on that final shot in second half stoppage, that was either Eric Feliciano or Irvin Torres. I know it was a 30 number, and those were the two out there at the time. So either way, man, credit to Micah for the 2 contributions. And I think, man, like watching this one, which I saw about an hour of the 90, but playing with the confidence of somebody who made his MLS debut 10 days ago. I don't know.
Nice.
I mean, I know it wasn't in the best circumstances, but a good performance. So next match for the second team this Sunday back at Palmer Field, Tacoma Defiance coming to town. We will preview that match on Thursday's episode. Anything else for you here, E?
Oh, sir.
All right. Have not had a chance to calculate the best ball scores from the weekend as of yet. Usually happens with a Sunday Austin match. But, E, we do have the results from the Week 11 picks. And now the pick'em entry continues to be a frustrating one, E, because Maxime Crépeau gives up 3 goals almost as fast as you could blink. And Evander easily goes over his passing number. But I really think, like, keeping up with these passes as those games were going on, I don't think we were helped out by the red card from Cincinnati, which allowed Chicago to have a lot more of the ball when they wanted it, which helped Hugo Kuipers go over his passing props. So still haven't hit one of those pick'ems since week 1, E. So we are now down to negative 3.08 units in the pick'ems. So got to get back on the horse there and catch up to the heat that has rekindled at the books. And it's really due to just one nice hit here, E. We do somehow squeak out the under 3 in Toronto and San Jose, which had 2 goals in the first 13 minutes.
Yeah.
I think because you helped me edit that article on Saturday morning, I think I texted you and said, why didn't you edit that pick out of the fucking article? But it holds on to win. San Diego did not hold on to win, even though they were up 2 with 82 minutes gone by. LAFC equalizes. And that equalizer was very important for us. Austin FC plus 160, of course, comes through for us here, E. We end up on the week, long-winded here, plus 12.57 units at the book because 16th minute of second half stoppage, Ryan Hollingshead, our long shot pick of the week at 14-1, comes in with the equalizing goal. And then yesterday you get helped out by the Uzuni goal as well at plus 225. We had Biru also at 11-1, which we were hoping like that handball goes in. Yeah, go count it.
Yay.
But plus 12.57 units at the books, as I mentioned. So E, we are now plus 14.92 units at the books on the season, and we will take that.
Absolutely take that. That Hollingshead goal, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, to see that 16th minute of stoppage, just like, oh!
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, man. Anything else for you before we shut it down? Back-to-back wins.
That's right, baby. Back-to-back victory songs. Get it ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, sticking with us here on episode 304 of the North End Podcast. We are back on Thursday, previewing Austin FC's road match against Minnesota United, previewing the second team's home match against Tacoma Defiance, and, of course, the nonsense and talking about everything else that happens in the Austin FC universe between now and then. Enjoy the beginning of your week, everybody. You know we'll do the same, and we'll see you back here on Thursday for another episode. Till then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Victory song.
Welcome to the North End, where the passion's running high. We're here to talk football. Austin FC, our pride. CG&E, we'll take you on this ride. Week by week, side by side. In section 1, 2, 3, we're the rowdiest in town. The Pirates, Damon, Uncle Dave, and Big Fudge all around. Ooh, yeah. We sing our songs. We chant as one. Through thick and thin, the match day's just begun. In the North End, we stand together. Through every game, through any weather. From the first whistle to the final blow. The North End will never let go. Under the lights of Q2, our home, our sacred ground. Our sacred ground. Yeah, in green and black, we fight, our voices loud and proud. Ooh. Owen, BV, and Dani P. Stu for saving grace. Ooh. With every goal we score, the lights turn Verdi, it's our pain.